This is the RX100 Mark VII from Sony. It's the latest in our RX100 series line of products. What's great about it is the image sensor inside is brand new. It uses the same structure as our Alpha 9 interchangeable lens camera in terms of its sensor, so it benefits from lots of things that the Alpha 9 can do as well. It can output data really quickly, which enables it to check focus 60 times per second. So you can shoot at 20 frames per second with full autofocus and full auto exposure. That's at full resolution in RAW or JPEG. But because of that high-speed sensor, it's able to check the focus up to 3 times between each shot. You also get blackout-free shooting. So that means when you're shooting at 20 frames per second, you don't get any blackout on the viewfinder or the LCD screen on the back. You see the action as live, which is great for following moving subjects. Of course, you can shoot fully silently, and with the electronic shutter on here, you can shoot up to a 32,000th of a second, and because of the high-speed readout, it also has an anti-distortion function on there, so unlike conventional electronic shutters, you get minimal distortion on your images. The autofocus system on the RX100 Mark VII is outstanding. It has 357 phase detection autofocus points covering 68% of the image sensor. That combines with 425 contrast detection points as well to perform with hybrid autofocus. Phase detection is the type of autofocus used on interchangeable lens cameras. It's really good because it can be very quick and it's good at tracking moving subjects. Contrast detection is a type of autofocus conventionally used on camcorders and compact cameras. It can be very accurate. This phase detection and contrast detection combine to deliver a superb autofocus experience. The camera can focus in 0.02 of a second, so extremely quickly. And on top of that, you get real-time tracking. That was a feature which we developed for our Alpha 9 version 5 firmware. It means that conventionally, when you're trying to track a subject, you normally put a focus point over your subject and try and move the camera around and keep it in line with your subject. With real-time tracking, you can use a focus point or the touchscreen to select your subject, and thanks to the artificial intelligence inside the camera, it will be able to recognize your subject and follow it across the screen. The artificial intelligence is actually looking at lots of different types of information. So it can look at information relating to the eye, the face, color, pattern, and distance of your subject. So for example, if you were trying to take a picture of a person, it would be able to recognize that they were a human. It would then be able to focus on the eye. If it couldn't see the eye, it would then focus on the face. And if it can't see the face, maybe because your subject turned away, using the color, pattern, and distance information, it'll still be able to recognize that they're your subject, and it will still continue to focus on them. In addition to this, we also have real-time eye autofocus. So Sony's been leading the way in terms of eye autofocus, being able to track your subject on the eye, because the eye, of course, is the ideal place for portrait photography where you want to focus. Now it's even better than before, enabling you to track your subject no matter where they are across the frame and be able to do that superbly quickly. We also have animal eye autofocus built in, so the camera can also recognize the eyes of animals. You might want to do that because if you're taking a picture of, say, your dog or your cat, you don't want the camera to focus on the nose or the ear. Even with your animal, you want it to focus directly on the eye. The image quality from the RX100 Mark VII is outstanding. It uses a 1-inch sensor, which is about 4 times bigger than a normal compact camera sensor, but it's a new sensor developed for this model. That combines with a 24 to 200mm f2.8 to 4.5 Zeiss lens. But furthermore, color reproduction has been worked on very hard with this model, so even though it sounds very similar to the RX100 Mark VI, you get even better image quality coming out of the RX100 Mark VII. Added on to that, the lens is also stabilized, so it gives you up to 4 stops of effective correction. In terms of video, the RX100 Mark VII can do 4K HDR. It can do full pixel readout without pixel binning. What does that mean? Well, traditionally, cameras have many more pixels than you need for 4K. A single frame of 4K would require about 8 megapixels worth of information, but on a lot of camera sensors, we have many more than that. To deal with the information, sometimes in the past manufacturers have done line skipping where they lose information from the sensor, or pixel binning where you combine pixels together and average out the information. But with the RX100 Mark VII we do full pixel readout without pixel binning. This means we treat every pixel individually and we use that information to create your 4K file. What happens then is that you do what we call oversampling. you have more pixels than you require for that 4K file, and the end result is a really detailed 4K image. We also have HDR built in, so that's a HLG function. That means that you can create HDR content straight out of the camera without having to grade. So if you have a compatible 4K HDR TV, or maybe you're creating HDR content for YouTube, you can shoot it straight out of camera and use it straight away. The RX100 Mark VII has super slow motion built in, so thanks to the high-speed sensor, it's able to shoot at 250 frames per second, 500 frames per second, or 1000 frames per second for up to 40 times slow motion, which can give you really cool results. In terms of the autofocus, that hybrid autofocus of phase detection and contrast detection is also applicable to your movie mode. You can also use the touchscreen, and you've got real-time tracking built into there. For the first time on our RX series, we also have eye autofocus built in for movies. Furthermore, for video, we also now have a microphone socket built in, so you can have a 3.5mm jack microphone and put it straight in there. And we think that'd be great for content creators, combined of course with a 180-degree tilt screen. Add on to that advanced features such as picture profiles like S-Log2 and S-Log3 that we have with some of our professional camcorders and proxy file recording, and you have a really strong feature makeup on the RX100 Mark VII. In terms of operability, the RX100 Mark VII is a delight to use. You have a built-in OLED viewfinder which just pops up, and that's great in terms of color and contrast and detail, and enables you to compose in a traditional manner and is really useful when you're in sunny conditions. The menu system is very similar to a lot of our recent alpha cameras, so you have options in there like My Menu, where you can group together settings which you commonly use. The FN button, which is on the back, is normally used to bring up a row of 12 different options here. Now, similar to our Alpha 7R Mark IV, you can actually customize that differently between the still modes on the dial and also the movie mode. Added into this, you have the capability to protect your images and even add star ratings onto them. It gives you the performance of a professional camera in a compact. Wi-Fi and NFC are built into the RX100 Mark VII, so you can download our Imaging Edge mobile app for iOS or Android, and you can either control the camera from your smartphone, or you can easily transfer footage from the camera to your smartphone itself. There's also our Imaging Edge Movie Edit add-on, where you can quickly and easily edit and add different effects onto your movie on the go. The RX100 Mark VII is ideal for somebody who's looking for a second camera to go along with their interchangeable lens camera. They might want to use it on the same projects or even take it instead of that interchangeable lens camera, knowing that it has amazing autofocus, being able to check the focus 60 times per second, that real-time tracking system built within there, an eye autofocus in stills or movie, as well as great image quality from that 1-inch sensor and that flexible 24 to 200mm lens. The high specifications for movie means that this will also appeal to a lot of content creators who are on the go wanting to create really high quality footage with external audio and also being able to easily track with autofocus them or things around them.